Okay, so finally, please have a little bit more patience for the last presentation by Mr. Han.
Hello, nice to see you.
Hi, hi, how are you?
Hi.
Okay, please start.
Yes, wait a minute. So can you see my slides?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, is it working?
Yes.
Okay, so hello everyone, and really thank you for participating in today's workshop, and thanks for the fielder, Jinkun and Nissan to do the very nice presentation. So now I'm going to talk about the impact of COVID-19 on cultural industries and institutions, challenges and opportunities. So before start the presentation, I want to do a brief self-introduction. So my name is Hang Zhewen, and I was born in Jiaxing, Zhejiang Province, China. And between 2013 to 2017, I have studied in this Mekong Asia Pacific University, and then enrolled in GSAIS since 2018. So currently I'm studying about how can the culture of historical cities flourish through intangible cultural heritage. Because I believe culture is very important for cities to achieve sustainable development, especially under this situation of COVID-19. We further realize that achieving sustainable cities, we need a city that's resilient, which culture plays a big role to help improving social cohesion. So, and that's the reason why today I choose cultural industries and institutions as today's topic. So as we see before enter the content, we first understand the definition of cultural industries, because there are many different kinds of definitions of these cultural industries. So here I list two definitions from, one is from UNESCO and another one is from Chinese government. So as UNESCO defined, the term cultural industries refer to industries that combine the creation, production, and commercialization of creative contents. Therefore, in some cases, people also use the term creative industries to refer these cultural industries, but in some cases, they refer to different things. And in case of Japan, Japan government use content industries to refer this term. While in case of Chinese, definition of cultural industry is a little bit larger. It includes industries that produce and sell cultural products, also include industries that provide cultural service, and the industries that provide cultural added value to other commodities and industries. So because time limitation, I won't talk about the whole cultural industry, so I want to introduce just one part of the video game industry. And the reason I selected video game industry is at this very special period when most industries are negatively affected by the COVID-19, the video game industry doesn't seem have a big impact, and somehow they have a good impact. So these figures are coming from GPC, the Game Publishing Committees. It's a Chinese institution that's the only national audio, video, and digital publishing institution. So which means if a game that enters the Chinese game market officially, then it must get the license from this GPC. So the left figure shows the sales revenue of the Chinese market, game market, while the right one shows the sales revenue of domestic developed games. So as we all know that China has been affected by the COVID-19 since the December 2019, and situation became serious in January this year. So this means the sales growth between the fourth quarter of 2019 and the first quarter of 2020 has largely been affected by the COVID-19. So as we can see, before 2020, the sales in whole 2019 remained stable, while entered 2020, it's rise dramatically. So as I have mentioned, because the data here didn't include the games that not receiving issuing license. So the new released popular games like Animal Crossing have not contributed to the growth of Chinese market. So therefore we can believe this is the result of people stay at home and thus push people to put their time into internet and also the video games. So except the Chinese market that has its specialty, so we can then focus on the United States, situation in United States. So these figures compare total video game sales and the video games hardware sales and also software sales in United States from January to May this year, in 2019 and this year. So the blue one represents the data of 2019 and the orange one represents the data of 2020. So we know that the outbreak of COVID-19 in the United States began in March, which is here. So of course, we could not contribute all this growth to COVID-19. As we can see in 2019, in case of 2019, there also exists growth since January to March and then declined until May. However, as the 2020 sales in January and February are much lower than it in 2019, while the sales in March, April, and May are much higher than it in 2019. So we can still believe that COVID-19 has had some influence. So although it seems, until now, we can see that the video game industry benefit in short term. So like it increased video games daily active users and also increased its sales revenue. But actually, it has it actually made many negative impacts. So if, for example, those events was delayed or even canceled, and this can cause a huge impact on independent developers. So different to those large companies like Nintendo or Sony, independent developers, they really need such events as a platform to find publishers, communicate with fans and communicate with fundings, and also announce the new releases. So like the E3 2020, E3 refers to the Electronic Entertainment Expo. So usually many studios announce their new releases on this event, and now they need to find a new way. So furthermore, except the events, esports events also canceled or was switched to online format. So although there are sports competition using video games, but they usually hold at stadium. So hold the competition at stadium because to avoid the issues like network latency. So once they move to the online, they may have many problems like fair play and reducing sponsors and ticket incomes, reducing ticket income as well. So except those short and medium term impacts, another quite big impact is the shortage of game hardware. So as we know, because the whole world slowed down its production, and big companies like Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they also produce game hardware as well. They might face a shortage of them. So actually, in fact, Nintendo has already faced shortage of their hardware, Nintendo Switch. And here right in Japan, but I think currently already shortage worldwide. And the price of the hardware continue to rise in the second-hand market. So it is even dubbed as the best financial product in 2020. So finally, we cannot omit that we are facing worldwide economic downturn. So although the short term, the video game industry shows quite good in short term, but as Miss Jing also introduced, the COVID-19 hit on the income. So if we will from long term, we believe that the annual sales revenue might decrease.